hello, my beloved women of the world. Welcome. Welcome to my show, Your Radiant Life After 45. It's a show for women who want more from life, who are not done living yet. I am Dr. Angelika Christie, your show host, and on my show, we discuss women's issues regarding optimizing her health, transforming her relationships, energizing her physical body, fitness, spiritual and personal development, and so much more. And I am so excited today because usually you just see me, but today I have a very special, I would say friend, because we hit it off right from the moment we had our first conversation. Her name is Lauren, and she is a connector, a disruptor, and a certified professional coach. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. Above all, she is a multi-passionate. I love that, a multi-passionate, obsessed with supporting women in life transition, leadership, and success. And she believes you should never, no, because that's what she did. She never followed a straight line, a straight path. Lauren has learned to harness the power of being heart-centered, growth-minded, multi-passionate, and wants to empower and inspire more women to do the same. You see, you have to live it first. You cannot just talk about something, but you have to live it too. And not everybody does that, but she does. So her passions are people, connections, yoga, travel, health and wellness, nature, personal development, stories and storytelling, food, learning in general, female empowerment, music, especially live music, and I guess even more. But her words to live by, and kind of the theme of this episode here is how to live on purpose. So welcome, my dear friend. Welcome, Lauren. And I think it's so beautiful that especially at the beginning of this new year, we have this opportunity to talk about this because, you know, start off the year the right way. So how did you uncover your passion and your purpose? Because what your passion is usually your purpose, right?
Yeah, I kind of came about it in a roundabout way. Thanks for the beautiful introduction, Angelika. Like many women, probably during the pandemic, it was a little bit of an inflection point for a lot of us, or even a tipping point where we realized we maybe weren't living the lives we intended or wanted to. And this mantra that I live by, live on purpose, kind of just appeared during some of my quiet times in meditation. I was going through a lot personally. I was questioning everything. Like, when I say everything, I pretty much mean everything in my life, my relationships, my career, where I was living, like the path I had taken, and realized I had been living with very little intention. I was just kind of going through the motions and felt like I was kind of just treading water constantly. Or I was on the hamster wheel that so many of us feel like we're stuck on. It just keeps going round and round. And I felt powerless almost sometimes to change anything or get off the hamster wheel. It was like, this is just life. But it took that time during the pandemic where we actually got to slow down for once. At least for me, that's how it felt. Life was so busy. And this is something I hear from so many women too, of like how busy we are. And
we wear so many.
Yeah, I was like, and it's where are we putting our energy? So it's actually an activity I have a lot of women do when I first start coaching with them, is what I call an energy inventory. Where are you spending your energy? How much of it's doing things you actually get energized by versus depleting you?
You know, when we think about money, we think about ROI, I mean, return on investment, right? We should really think the same about my energy. So what do I get back from the energy that I exude or spend here? Is there joy coming back? Is there satisfaction coming back? Is there love? Is there, what is coming back? If it's only giving, and you feel exhausted, I mean, that, but so many women live that way and are never really question that or have been almost maybe taught. Sometimes we don't get taught in a classroom, but we see it. We grow up in that environment where, we believe that this is how it is. Yeah.
Well, I believe a lot of that is also modeled to us by our mother a lot of the time. How she showed up in relationship, in her career, if she even had one. I mean, I started to kind of dismantle all of my beliefs. Where does
Mm,
that come from? Because I mean, I have a lot of strange limiting beliefs around money, like many women do. A lot of the times because our mothers didn't really have careers.
mhm,
Um, especially, I feel like our generations, like we're right on the cusp of when women really started getting out into the workforce. So I almost felt guilt, right? Once I became a mother, that's another component of who I am. I became a mother a little over 7 years ago. And there was a lot of pressure from my own mother, like, and not in a bad way. It's just what she knows that my main responsibility as a woman was to be a mother to my son, because that's the message that was always told to her generation. Right. So that was something I was constantly fighting with. Like, I'm not doing any job good enough. I'm not a good enough career woman. I'm not driven enough because I'm like stuck and I can't figure out what I want to do. And then over here on the other side, I'm not a good enough mother because I actually want to work and I don't want to just stay home and be a stay-at-home mom.
yeah.
So I always felt like this push pull, not quite feeling like I was succeeding at anything. And it was something that I talked to a lot of women about during the pandemic because I wasn't the only one feeling that. We're trying to do it all and we're
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing how some things as catastrophic as COVID-19 and, and how it all developed and what it did to us personally, our relationship, businesses, and all of that, there is also the other side. It gave us an opportunity to question, like you questioned everything. And also, is this really what I want? I think maybe some relationships got better, but I believe others really said, okay, no, now that I had to live in a closed space with this person for a considerable time, I know for sure this is not what I want. This is not what is right for me. And so I think it's amazing that these events have real consequences, positive and negative, but there is never a negative one. It's just an awareness that something came up, right? That you need to pay attention to. So yeah, that's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So what is really a heart-centered community building? How do you describe it?
How do I describe it? So I think I'll back it up so everyone understands kind of how I landed in what I do now, which is build community. So during that pandemic moment of just complete introspection, I was really trying to land on the things that felt intentional and purposeful, the things I really enjoyed doing and I was good at. Because isn't that ultimately what we're all looking for? It's like, where is that intersection of strength, but also like enjoyment and where I'm going to get joy doing something rather than just go through the motions?
Yes.
So for me, it was always relationship building. Regardless of what career I had been in, what roles I was in, because like I said, I identify as a multi-passionate and I have a very squiggly resume. Everyone I talk to about like what my background is, I kind of stuck to certain things for a certain amount of time. And then I kind of veered off the path a little bit and tried other things. But the common thread I found through the pandemic was people. I was always in front of people in some capacity, no matter what I was doing. And I always enjoyed that piece of it, building the relationships, nurturing relationships, getting to know people, because I think it's part of that lifelong learner in me and the curiosity I have. Like, I'm genuinely fascinated by people, like what motivates them, what they want out of life. So I like to ask a lot of deep questions. And that led me first down the path of I'm going to go become a life coach, right?
Mhm.
makes sense. I've kind of been doing this in some capacity without the official certification. So I did that during the pandemic too, not really knowing what I was really going to do with it. I do a little bit of coaching now, but really I've been focused on the community building piece because that's where I identified a gap during the pandemic where what started as a social experiment, it's kind of what I call it now because I didn't know what I was doing at the time, other than I want to hear stories from what's going on with women during this time because so much was going on in my own life. Became fascinated with the concept of this can't just be happening to me. I can't be the only one who's blowing up parts of her life or feeling like I wanted a do-over in some respects in pieces of my life. So I would just reach out to women, and it started on Facebook mostly, but now I'm not really on Facebook at all. But that was a place I was finding groups of women that were coming together that were talking about what was going on, and I would just reach out and start a conversation. And I would always lead with the same question, which was, what's the biggest thing you learned about yourself or that you're learning about yourself during the pandemic? Because I was learning a lot about myself, things I really wanted to shift in my own life and things I've been working to shift ever since. So I kept hearing the same stories in a way, but like variations on a theme from I've never been happy in my relationship. I don't think I'm married to the right person. I don't think I have the right partner. I've never liked my job. I think I want a career pivot, but I'm too scared. I don't know what I want to do. I don't like my circle of friends. Like, I don't even know. Like, I was hearing all of this stuff. Like, no, there's no one I can talk to about what's going on in my life. No one was having the real conversations. So that was the impetus. Why aren't we having these conversations?
So amazing because I mean, COVID and how we had to live during that time was the perfect springboard to really not only to understand that we need community, that we need to tell our stories, that we need to be together. And well, I mean, you can build relationships online if you do it heart-centered, and if you're because it always depends on what do you share. Where do you come from, and so I think this is so beautiful what you do and so needed right now because there's so much confusion out there,
Yeah.
And so much misguiding and overpowering. It's almost like there is this old world that's holding on for dear life, and there is this new world that is, I believe, must be led and is led by the feminine energy that has the masculine in it, but it comes from the heart center.
Yeah.
Because our whole universe is changing all the time, and we have entered the age of Aquarius, right? And that is the age of love, of heart. And so there is this perfect timing. So thank you for being here.
I felt like it was. And,
Yeah.
everything I saw in community spaces felt very transactional. I don't know if you can relate to seeing this out there. Like everything felt like I want to leverage something from you, or I'm not really interested in building a relationship with you, but I definitely know I need to network. Like networking became such a buzzy word. I need more people in my network. And it just like that point, like of transactional type relationships, I just was not interested in it. I had had enough of that. I'm like, I don't need more transactions. I want more relationships. I wanted an army of women I could go to for just about everything I could possibly encounter in life. And what I kept seeing in community was like these very niched communities where I basically felt like I needed to be in 16 communities to serve the person I was, because I think most women are fairly multifaceted.
Yes. We have
And
so many. Yes.
we bounce around between the different facets of our life all the time. Like tomorrow, I might be in full blown mom mode. The next day, I could be full blown entrepreneur mode. And it's like, I need to bounce between all these different communities to get the support I need. I was like, I don't have the time nor the energy for that, right? Back to that idea of like, where am I spending my energy? And what kind of people do I want to surround myself with? So I became like pretty dedicated to finding the right women, and that heart-centered piece is huge because they're the women that actually want to build relationships and don't just want to be in these transactional relationships. I was like, you can go anywhere for that. You could just do the plain LinkedIn game for transactions.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
are you curious? Do you want to get to know women and see what blossoms out of building those connections?
Oh, that is so powerful, so beautiful. And I mean, trying to do it the old-fashioned way, which was just after I recovered from COVID. I had COVID right early in 2020, and then I pushed myself to jumpstart my business again. And it was the old-fashioned way, build the funnel, this and this and all of this. And I pushed and pushed. And right when I tried to make an offer, I had a TIA, I had a stroke. So, and I know the headache I had before, I was not in alignment with myself. And so I was just doing something transactional that I was taught that's how it has to be, you know? And so from that point on, I let all of that go, and it is really, really important to have that journey to yourself first, to know who are you, really, not perceived from the outside, not what you try to be or what others tell you. Who is this incredible human being that you don't even acknowledge enough,
Yeah.
And I just see that actually one of our guests here, and she just messaged me, was at that Zoom meeting where I made the offer, and she witnessed my stroke on camera.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it was an incredible time, but it was a wake-up call. And I mean, this is really what life tries to tell us. If we don't go within, and if we don't search and align ourselves with who we really are, and are that on the outside as well, and align our life with that, then we are constantly in friction. And we know, I mean, as a naturopathic doctor, I know that how disease starts, it's irritation, it's friction, it's inflammation, it's, there are all these stages, and they're all warning signs. They say, okay, wake up, something needs to
Something's
change
going
here.
on.
Yeah, something's going on. But we are usually too busy. They say, it's okay. And
Yeah, we ignore it. I was like, I did the same thing during many moments of my life where my health was not in a good place. Where it's like, oh, just ignore it, it'll get better. And, looking back, hindsight's 2020, right? Or like, oh, there was a lot of stress going on through some of those moments. And it's something I always have women check in with, because especially GI distress in women is like a huge flag. It's like, because we carry a lot of the stress in our guts. And it's always when I know, I was like, oh, I need to slow
we are
down.
intuitive, and the intuition is not in our brain. It is right here, right in our gut. And of course, the gut and the brain, it's all connected. But I believe women have more issues with that because we absorb stress more. Men in general, that is nothing, that's how it is. But there's a general trend of men, they are getting together with their comrades or with their friends, and they go and boating and they play football and they go play golf or whatever. They somehow release stress more physically. While women so often, we have too many jobs. We are wearing too many hats. So we never feel that we have the luxury of taking care of ourselves. And it is so, so, so important. And I think in community, and you probably know this from your community, others tell you, listen, something is wrong with your energy today. Just others mother you almost, saying, pay attention, what can I do? Or they just do something for you and you're surprised, but that's exactly what you needed. That's why the company of like-minded women is so powerful and also so healing.
Yeah,
I believe.
I know it has been for me. So that's what I wanted to bring to more women. It's like, you all need your personal army of women that you can go to and feel like you're not going to burden them either, because that's a huge thing we deal with as women, is feeling like we can't share our stories because we're burdening other people.
That's what we believe, or we are ashamed, or we feel embarrassed, or all of these things that I wonder if the younger generation, I mean, you are so much younger, you're a different generation, but it's still there. What about the very young, the children? Can they be brought up in a different way, that they know that they can express themselves exactly how they are? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I know, being a mother myself, it's something I think about a lot with my son. Obviously, not a girl, and will process emotions differently. But I also know I want him to be raised in a way where he feels comfortable expressing himself, which, as we know, a lot of men need a lot of work in that department.
Right.
So I want to kind of normalize it for him. Like, it's okay to have feelings and to express them. You don't need to repress them, because I think that, has done a disservice to so many men, and they struggle so much with hidden mental health issues that I'm like, I don't want my son to live that way if I can prevent it in any kind of way. Like,
Great that you picked that up.
yeah.
So that brings me to my next question. Who do you serve? So you're not just serving women. You have opened up to who do you serve?
Mostly women right now.
Oh,
So my community is built for women, and it's fairly broad yet specific is how I describe it. Because I don't subscribe to a belief that it's like a certain age bracket. I didn't really even know when I started building the community that it was going to be multi-generational, but that's what it's become. And I love the diversity of perspective from, someone in their late 20s who may identify a little bit more as what I would call an old soul. So a little bit older than their years, but then also women into their 60s, and hearing that perspective. So that's been a beautiful thing, to just have that kind of diversity. My main criteria when I connect with women, if they're interested in being a part of a community, is one, that heart-centered component. Are you truly interested in building relationships? If you're here to just leverage one another's skills, talents, whatever, or get ahead, or come in and be overly salesy, which, let's face it, we've been in communities like that, probably not the space for you. However, I also will say, I want the women in there to succeed in whatever endeavors they're after, whether it's new or they've been at it for a while. My hypothesis has always been that if you're in relationship with one another, you're not even going to have to ask for the sell, because you already know, trust, like the person. Right. So for me, that was a way of building true support amongst women. Like, we all see the hashtag women supporting women, and a lot of it, I feel like, is kind of fluff or BS. Like, it's not actually happening. There's almost what I feel like two different camps going on. There's the women that say they're supporting women, but really they're only looking out for themselves and they're about competition. And then there's the other camp of us, which I'd say is all the women that I tend to attract, where we're more about collaboration versus competition.
Right. Collaboration.
That's what I look for.
Yeah.
And then I look for growth mindedness. Like, do you have a growth mindset?
Yeah.
Are you a lifelong learner? Are you someone who likes to be around other people who want to learn and grow and develop themselves? If you're into being stagnant.
Yeah, exactly. And you said curious, and that rang a bell, because if you stay curious, and that makes you staying open, right? Because if you're curious, you don't just say, well, I know this, and this is my mind is set into that because this is what I know. If you're open and curious, you never stop learning, to the last day of your life. It's an ongoing it's your journey, and this journey is so incredible, and so many beautiful stories have never been told. And I like that your community opens up in storytelling. But there's also something that I know we are getting a little bit close here on the end of this. You're a disruptor. What makes you a disruptor?
I think it's the fact that I just typically challenge the status quo. And I always invite being wrong. I talked about it in posts on LinkedIn. I was like, I love being wrong. Because guess what? I've learned another perspective. I've gotten more knowledge or wisdom. And again, it kind of goes back to that lifelong learning and also breaking the norms of what networking is, if we want to call it networking, because I almost call what I do, it's really a cross between like being a social club, really, like we're going to come hang out and get to know each other, but we're also going to work towards things because these are ambitious women at some level. Doesn't mean they're all going to go make 6-7 figures or aspire to even do that, but they want to leave a mark on the world. They want to create ripples. That tends to be the kind of woman that I attract because, that's me.
Yeah.
I see myself in all of them.
Yes, and that's so amazing because I have heard it before, but your perfect client is you who were, I mean, maybe 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, but this, your path has gone through where they are now. So you're ahead, but you totally get it. You totally understand where they are. And so that is beautiful. That Kathy and I, we are building a community as well. We call it the Golden Connectors and Connections, the Global Connections. So because community has become such a used up word, everybody's having communities. It is about community, but I think you still have to attract who you really want. And you made this very clear, heart-centered, wanting to learn, wanting to develop and grow. And with the older women that we attract, women over 55, it's the same, but it's also through storytelling. And that is not very new, but 50 years ago, that wasn't really something that you would do, not in business or so. Storytelling, that was that's too personal, don't do that. So, we only have 2 minutes left. What is it? Just a golden nugget. What is it? First of all, how can people reach you?
Best way to reach me is either through the website where you can learn more about what I'm building at Catalyst, which is the website is weareacatalyst.com. And then on LinkedIn is where I'm most active. I'm having conversations with people on LinkedIn that often lead to virtual chats, how we met.
I know. And yesterday was that gathering, the fireplace gathering.
Fireside Fridays.
So busy. And I said, oh my God, I can't, can I? No. And so I'm so sorry I missed it. Yes, we met on LinkedIn.
Yes,
In one of these
LinkedIn's a spot to start a conversation with me. And yes, on Fridays I do Fireside Fridays, which is just kind of a taste of what I do in community, the kinds of conversations we have. We go deep pretty fast. There's a lot of vulnerability, and it's really what I do, like what it's all about. We come in, we don't waste time, we don't stay on the surface. We have the real conversation.
Dawn just said yesterday was a lot of fun, so she must have been there.
Yes, Dawn was there. It was a great contributor, as always, to the conversation.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so we are now switching over. And for everybody who sees this as a replay in the archives, thank you so much for being our guest here and listening to this. And please tell your friends, come back every Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 on the West Coast. And we always have beautiful conversations. I with myself and you, or with another fabulous woman like Lauren Ashley today. Okay, so until we see each other again, bye-bye for now. But please take care of yourself, okay?